Brela is definitely a beach destination.
Wow. Bravo. Wow.
We just finished eating. I have to disappoint you. It was amazing. It was one of the best meals I had for a long time. I'm still baffled by the price, but I can only say 10 out of 10. Perfect. If you have looked into Brela online, I will guarantee you have seen a picture of this one, the symbol of Brela. Doesn't this just look... I don't know what to say.
Fruits with milk and I mix it, it freezes up and I roll it.
And then it comes in like an ice cream.
Yes.
That's where I always park when I go to Brela, and then it's just down here. Find a spot in the shade, find a spot down in front of the water, and just, you know, have a super relaxing day. And we found a very nice bar to sit at, Waikiki Beach Bar. We are with a car, so I have to stick to some drinks like this. But nice place. Hi everyone, today I'm gonna show you one of my favorite spots in Croatia. We are visiting Brela today and we have a lot of walking to do, so let's get going. And we are now at the southeast end of Brela, basically the border of Brela towards Podcrkavlje. And as you see, there's a nice walking part here, the Longomare. And we're gonna follow that one today. And the coastal line in Brela here is somewhere between 6.5 to 7 kilometers. So we have a lot of walking to do. And from those 6.5 to 7 kilometers, probably 4 of them is pebble beaches, some is rocky beaches, but I would say, you know, you could say it's one long beach. And we, of course, gonna add information in the video so you can see what the different beaches are called if you find a specific one very interesting. And of course you have aqua parks along the beach. You have multiple of those. But I just wanted to, here's a map. Maybe we can start out here. So we started the video out here next to the BlueSun Hotel. And we're gonna basically follow the coastal line. You see, long, long, long. And hopefully, if we have power to do it, we're gonna end up out here so that you basically get a complete overview over the beaches in Brela. We're of course also gonna stop in the city center, have a look at a few other things, but Brela is definitely a beach destination. And we are filming, we started the filming now around 10 a.m. So as we walk along, you will probably see more people on some of the other beaches. That's simply because of it's a bit later during the day. Of course, there's different amounts of people depending on what time you're at the beach. And another great thing about, you know, doing a video here in Brela is that most of the walking is without stairs. We're gonna encounter a few of them, but very few. So just a nice relaxed walk. And even here, as you can see, there's a bit of sandy beach here. I think that's the only one which has a bit of sand. The rest of them are pebble. And water is relatively shallow here, but not like you would see it on Basvic in Split. And the crickets are already at work. And Brela is actually a relatively small village. I think there's a total of 1,600 people living here. 1,400 something are living in the lower part, which means below the main road, which is up here, 100 meter elevated from here. And the rest of them live in Gornja Postana, which is on the other side of the road. And although I brought a cap today to, protect me against the sun, the good thing is in Brela, lots of this Longomare is basically shaded with trees. And all the way to the right here, apartments, apartments, apartments. Yeah, I think these are gonna be, at least for the next 2-3 kilometers, these are gonna be the only stairs we're gonna encounter. So you can cycle along the Longomare when there's not too many people, but you will have a few obstacles. Look at the water. Now, and the reason why we had the stairs up, I'm just gonna show you that, is because we actually have a cave down here. You can get one of the 10-15 spots and spend your day in a cave. Oh, I just love the shade. Oh, definitely you need to be here if you want a good spot. Come relatively early in the morning. At least some of the beaches I normally would go to out here when you're in the afternoon. It's like, sardines in a can. But look, wow. Of course, not all apartments are in first row to the sea. You will now be coming closer to the center. You can see all the apartments are uphill. And as I said, the main road is in an elevation of 100 meters. And more or less you have apartments starting from up there, going down in terraces down the hill. So you might have to go walk some stairs or walk up or down the road, depending on where you're staying. But already here, much more people. Just too nice. I think one of the trademarks of Brela, and that's really how it is, it's perfect spot for families. I can't think of many spots which are better in Croatia. And so if you are looking for, experiencing all kinds of stuff, of course there's also things you can do around Brela, but you should never go there if that's your main holiday goal, experience a lot. This is for people who like to get up in the morning, go to the beach, hang out there most of the day, maybe take a sailing trip. This is what you do here. Positive surprise. Deck chair, €10 a day. what do you call it, sunshade, 8. Absolutely reasonable. I think some of the other beaches, they might be slightly more expensive, but nothing like what we would see on Island Var or in Dubrovnik. This is way more relaxed level. So now we are walking into the center of the village, if you could call it center. I mean, it's a small place, so don't expect large shopping malls. It's definitely not what you're gonna find here. But you have a nice small port where you can rent boats, and you also have day trips going off from here. Coffee bar, coffee bar, coffee bar, restaurants. That's basically what you mainly would find here. Maybe we can go over on the road. Longomare, coffee bar. Over Ferral. That one I definitely ate there. I ate on that one on the corner and a few other ones. But it's been some years since I had time to go to Brela. And you can see how they park. The one critical thing you can say about Brela is it's very hard to find parking here. We came this morning early to get parking. I'm gonna point you out later where we parked. But a day ticket, 30 euro. And yeah, that's simply how it is. So make sure you have parking with the apartment you book, or spend the whole day here, then I think the price is okay. I think other spots might be 20, 25, but expect that range. We're just gonna check out how the price level is here in. So let's see, pizzas from a little bit less than 11 euro, going up to 14.5. Absolutely okay. You can't say anything to that. What else do we have? We know we see everywhere. Salads from 5.5. That's probably a seasonal salad, but other mixed salads with cheese, with chicken, 10. Max, the max one is 12 euro, absolutely approved. Chicken fillet with vegetables or whatever you want, 15 euro. I'm positively surprised. For a popular place like this, these prices are more than fair, I would say. Amazing, and we walked by this place maybe 1 hour ago. There was hardly any people on the beach, and now we're gonna be run over. So we are actually gonna sit here. We're gonna check out how much they want for a coffee, and then we're gonna continue. So just doing a small price check, I got my coffee, Brela Fotopoint, basically a cappuccino or something like that, and price for that one is 2.5 euro. And my colleague got my mineral water, 2.5 euro. I would say absolutely okay. Earlier this morning, we were on the other side of the center, and we had an espresso and a Americano, and they were also 2.5 euro. So I think absolutely reasonable. So thumbs up for Brela for prices in the coffee bars, and what I showed you before, the restaurant prices also look decent. So very good. Coffee test done. We're going to continue along the Longomare. Here was what I mentioned, by the way, with the boat trips. So they have one boat here which goes to, what does it go? Povlia on Branch, to Jelsa and on Bol. So yeah, and I would guess there's lots of different other trips. Okay, that's interesting. 0.3 for 3 euro. Does it say 3.5 for half a liter? That's 0.2 for half a cent, or half a euro. Pretty good. I mean, I think nobody will take 0.3 here. And you can already see now more and more people on the beach. And of course, Brela is, now we're in July, you see how many people there are. It can get pretty crowded in these months, but I think especially this area around the center, you would have people visiting Brela from after Easter till somewhere in October, because there's quite a few hotels that I know a lot of groups go down here. Some nice fruit. Oh, watermelon time. If they weren't just so heavy, you know. Yeah, and here we have the first hotel, which you have out in this direction. I think there's 4 or 5 hotels operated by the company called BlueSun.
For the first time, no way.
So hotel holiday in Brela is an option, or apartments, villas. Okay, there's also a fashion shop. I would say pick a bench, I would pick that one. Now, what I forgot to mention in the beginning, Brela is of course located on the Adriatic coast, roughly 55 kilometers south of Split, 75 kilometers from the Split airport, and 15 kilometers from Makaska. So if you're going on holiday, flying into Split here, you probably need to arrange some transport, or you need to have a rented car, whatever, you know, because going here with bus is not really an option as they stop up on the main road. Yeah, it took us an hour. We drove from Split this morning, was an hour drive. And we took the coastal road, not the highway. And now we can see more people, way more people than when we passed it a couple of hours ago. And we are still walking on our right side. We still have hotels. I think the last, maybe this is the last one. I can't recall. No, there's another one. So on this stretch out to the where the beach or the coast have a 90 degrees angle, I think most of it is hotels. Wow, look how packed it is. But what is great is, notice on the beach, there's a lot of natural shade, and that applies for a large portion of the beaches. Oh, here's another map. As you can see, we are here. Makaska is down here. If you want to do some excursions, you have the nature park Biokova, where you can go up and see the skywalk, or you can get all the way to Cedevita. That's an option. You of course should visit Makaska if you're here with a car. That kind of makes sense. Also for shopping purposes, because you have much better option in Makaska. And then of course you can go to Split. You can even go to Bosnia, which is the border is less than 50 kilometers from Brela, so an hour. And then you have cities just after the border, so also an option. So for my personal taste, this is a bit too packed. Yeah, I'm more into coming maybe in June, September, less people, more space. But of course, not everybody has the chance to pick when they have holiday. And you see, you have these signs in a lot of places. And one thing you see on all the signs, starting from out from the southeastern end, is always mentioned Plaza Punta Rata. And if you have seen my other videos, you have heard me mention that my favorite beach in Croatia is in Brela, and this is the one. And then of course you have the symbol of Brela, Kamen Brela. We're also going 5 minutes. We're soon going to be there. But man, the amount of people. No, but because I live in Spit, of course, I never made a holiday in Brela. It kind of makes, you know, not so much sense because I have 5 minutes to the beach from where I live. But nevertheless, I love going to Brela on a day trip, full beach day, you know, no worrying with emails, telephone and all stuff, just spending in a day on the beach. And that's when I go to Punta Rata, come early in the morning, really early. We strive to be here 8:30 in the morning, find a good parking. I'm going to show you when we pass by. And that's what I mentioned earlier, we pay 30 euros a day. And then basically we bring towels, we bring sandwiches, drinks, fruit, whatever we need for a whole day. And from early morning till maybe 5, 6 in the afternoon, it's beach day. And of course, we are not only on the beach, we also walk here on the Longomare into the city, have an ice cream, walk out again, do various stuff. Sometimes we haven't done jet ski, but we have done other of these things which are offered along the Longomare as sea action, or what you would call it. Ah, they make this. Have you ever seen that? So, I think they put. How is it done? This you put ice on this or what?
I put fruits with milk and I mix it. It freezes up and I roll it.
And then it comes in like an ice cream.
Yes.
So that's how they make ice cream. Cool. Thank you. Look. The pomme. Okay, they are very strange, these pomme. The tomatoes here. I assume it's from the garden. I mean, it's definitely smoked rice. Strawberries, maybe not at this time of the year. Maybe it could be somebody grows a second round of strawberries. Normally, season for that is down here somewhere. It's at the end of May, middle of May, or something like that. That's usually where the strawberries. So what do you have? Rent a kayak, a sea kayak tour, night glow kayaking. Okay. And of course there's public showers. A lot of places along the beach there's also public paid toilets, so you don't need to go on a coffee bar. There's several places where you have a public toilet. I don't know what the price is now, probably €1 or something like that. And then you have relatively, all the times I've been using over the years has been super conditioned, well maintained. So I don't mind paying a small fee for that. Here I had quite a few coffees over the years. So now we are at Punta Rata Beach. You are here, so we are here now. And quite a few people are here. But you have a restaurant there on this side, Punta Rata. No, that one I would guess is a little bit more expensive than the one we saw in the town. We can check it out. Here's a half chicken, ready. So it's a few euros more. Salads are here up to 16. The other place we saw was up to 12.30. So a few euros more. Okay. Full. And I see down here. Well, actually, that's quite a surprising me. You see here? The deck chairs here are only 8 and the sunscreen is only 6 here for a whole day. I thought it would be more expensive out here because this is usually the most popular place. Now, and up here to the right, we see the cars a little bit further up where we parked. That's where I always park when I go to Brela, and then it's just down here. Find a spot in the shade, find a spot down in front of the water, and just, you know, have a super relaxing day. But really, it's so nice with all the shade here. And there's actually not that much other places I have been to with beaches where they have so dense pine trees so close to the water. They usually have this other plant, which is this tree, which is quite thin. It's a very popular one, the plant, because I think it grows very fast, but it's not dense. Yeah. It was when we visited the beaches in Amish. This was the one which was planted along the Scit Beach. So, if you have looked into Brela online, I would guarantee you have seen a picture of this one, the symbol of Brela. This stone is probably the most used photo object from Brela, and maybe even from the whole Podcrkavlje area. Everybody has to film this one. Good to see nobody is crawling on it. I've been here many times where they crawl out, but I see there's a warning on it. I've seen many times people went here, crawled up, and used it for jumping. Well, you see the competition here. He went further than us, you know. Yeah. It's been protected since 1964. Used to call it, okay, the locals used to call it shakan or cook. I mean, you can at least swim around it for now. I think this is also better than people crawling around up there. And I would say the water looks pretty inviting. So I see no reason not to. The parts I've been to Brela, I've never walked all the way out where we're going to walk today, but I walked some part out, and from what I call, it's more quiet when we get out there. So let's see. If they are brave enough. I think there's a bigger one when we get out a little bit further. I remember we went and jumped for that one. And now I just recall. Oh! Okay, that was on another level than when I do it. It's more plummeting, you know, my style, you know. Well done. Well done, I must say. They keep jumping. But just the color of the water. And I also saw, I don't know here, but I saw in many other places, there was a lot of sea urchins. Also here, yeah. So the water is definitely top quality. Aha. So they maybe had it when people were hanging the locks, you know, when that was completely modern. I don't know if it's still a thing today. Okay, somebody's relaxing out here. Does this just look... I don't know what to say. I have to take a photo of this. It just looks too fantastic. Ah, that's maybe the right thing to have when you're here. Rollermobile.
Ah, yes.
You know, if you need to get... Probably they can't pull one up the hill if there's a road. Yeah. And if it's not stairs, then probably they are good enough for that. So that's perfect for getting to and from the beach. Well, we did good. We started here and now we are here. So let's say if we move this, okay, we are halfway now. So I think it was somewhere here we went jumping, but it can't have been right here. Or was it further? Maybe on this side, there was some way you could crawl up. Maybe up between the stones there. Yeah, I think up somehow here. And could be. I mean, it cannot have been much further out, so I think it was there. And then on the outer side, but just a strange thing, I recall there was some wooden bridge or something. Maybe they took that down. Maybe people got injured. And they thought, we're not going to allow that. I think you don't need wellness if your position is here. And you look at this. Okay, there's a restaurant, Dalmatia. It's simply built into the location, the wellness. Or at least well-being. No, but I was right. Way more calm when you get out here. Not so crowded as Punta Rata. And of course, you don't only have restaurants down here in the center, and like you saw here, down at Longomare, you also have actually in Gornja Brela, the upper Brela, there's some nice restaurants serving traditional dishes like peka you can order and stuff. They only work in the evening, but several of them have some arranged service where they have a minibus which picks you up down here and also take you back down. So if you want a really nice dish like peka, that's maybe something to consider. These were the trees I was speaking about. Tamaris, yeah. But even though they grow big, they don't give as much shade as the pines. But they grow much faster than the pine. That's simply why they put these, I think. And they can sustain the salt water. So out here, I'm kind of glad I took a cab today after forgetting it so many times. And I think if I look like it's warm to me, there's a reason for that. I think the temperature today is 33, 34 degrees Celsius. So I'm not faking it. It is actually very, very warm. Okay, that boy knows how to stand on the top. When I get up on one of these, I'm very fast in the water. My daughter says it's a balance issue. I think there's some very small hotels out here. I mean small, maybe 15, 20 rooms, these kind of sizes. So I think really out here, it's booking an apartment for staying in this area. But the thing is, all the beaches look great, so it basically does not matter, I would say. Restaurant seems like. Oh, this is what I like to see. Wow, look at looks good. Wow. There was both steaks and fish on the grill. Ah, they're going diving here. Yeah. So you can actually learn how to dive here. I learned to smoke dive, be a fireman. Crawling into these small spaces with a tank on your back, and you had to take off the tank and all the stuff. I had enough with diving, although it was not underwater, but the principle is similar, people told me. So, no thanks. So a small port out here also, really small one. Toilets out here. Oh, finally a bit. There's way less shade out here, as you can see on the footage. So, really. They really built down the hill here. House Samir. House Amir. It was German, that's why. I just had to read. Split the letters in the right place. And here's a small port. There, Bougainville somehow lost color too early. This one also. I mean, in many places they are till end of October, or end of August, in the beginning of September, they're still purple. So it must be how they are turned to the sun, maybe, or the soil. It could also be the soil. No idea. Maybe some experts are watching this. I can give some information. If it was up to me, they should be purple the whole summer. Wait a second. Man, the bird down there. I thought it was one of these ones which were dead and filled, you know, because it was standing completely still. Next to the bucket there. Look, it's completely still now. It is alive. Okay, this over here looks quite nice with a garden. Oh, nice. I kind of have a feeling it's time for a pit stop.
Yeah.
I think I kind of feel we walk quite a lot, and with the heat combination, it requires more breaks. But I already spotted we are very close to a potential pit stop. Okay, there's a competing bench, I would say. Nice place. At the time, except this. Is it called Waikiki Bar? Yeah. Running on booze and sarcasm since 2002. I think that's a place for me, you know. Let's go and have a small drink before we continue. So we will be back in a few. So when we stop for a drink and it's very warm outside, one of my favorites is this Croatian product called Cedevita. It's perfect. You can get it with different flavors, and you simply get a sachet like this, which you just mix with a glass of water. I always order a huge glass of water. Normally it will come in a smaller one, but just ask for a bigger one, and then you have a perfect refreshing drink. And it's one of the cheapest drinks you can get. Usually it's 2-3 euro or something like that. So absolutely perfect. Highly recommended to try it out. And we found a very nice bar to sit at, Waikiki Beach Bar. So I think under other circumstances I might drink something else, but you know, we are with a car, so I have to stick to some drinks like this. But nice place. And this is how You would get fruit in Brela. This guy with the fruit would normally sail to most of the beaches, come into the beach, and then when you're lying there, you can just buy grapes, peaches, whatever you feel like, watermelon. So let's continue. We still have probably a kilometer and a half before we are at the end of Brela. But you can definitely, if you're here and you like running, 6-7 kilometers. And here's a dog beach. I like the icon they made. A dog with glasses and a snorkel. There's no dogs. Yeah, there's dogs. Yeah, there's dogs. Pity there was no shade for them there. Okay, here they build some new stuff. Wow. I don't know if that new one we saw up there, if that's some hotel stuff. And then this, which you see down here at the beach we're coming up to now, if that's connected? No, it's not. I don't think so. Seems when you get out here, they don't charge for the hotels, or the toilets. That's really a good price, €9 for a cheeseburger. Gourmet burger, where's that? Gourmet burger here, €10. Probably that can't be with, a fries is then €3, but still, absolutely okay. Large portion of chivabi, €10. In the middle of a beach. I don't think you can say anything to that. Here's a little bit more raw with the rocks here. But everywhere you have small areas with pebble. But really it seems like, you can take the busy beach, Punta Rata, or you can just walk out here. And then you have way less people, if you prefer that. But there's coffee bars all the way, there's restaurants, so you're not gonna miss out on anything. And there's even a guy with the corn, selling corn. So what's this supposed to be? Here, with a wheel. Is that some kind of fitness? Or is it supposed to be that you should imagine that you are you know, driving a ship. Maybe something like that. No idea. Okay. Steep. Steep. Look, they found a spot on the rock. Wow. I think I could also, you know, I would have no problem picking one of these beaches out here, you know. I always went to Punta, Rata, but I think maybe next time I should try something else. Beach bar.
Hele, neutíkejte, ještě si vás...
Hello, hello. And here you can actually get down by the car with a car. But I mean, if you have been driving on this, you can't really do it too often. Wow, a partner right here. Another restaurant, another coffee bar. So out here is 10 for the deck chairs. So it varies a little bit. Between 8 and 12 for the deck chairs. The sun, what do you call it? The sunshade was from 6 till 10, I think. So second time we see stairs to climb. So we made it to the end. We walked all along the coast in Brela. We saw all the different beaches, and I'm just gonna check on my phone how long we actually walked, just to give you an idea. So till now, since we started this morning at 8, we're on 12,000, but some of it we walked double, so probably 10,000 steps is the part we walked along the coast. Anyway, hope you liked it so far. We're gonna see if we can find other things to explore in Brela, so we're gonna head back toward the center of town.
Wow. Bravo. Wow. Wow.
So we are now out in the northwestern end of Brela, where we walked out, and we saw a banner or a poster down that when we walked along the beach with an offer which was simply too good. So we are now at a restaurant called Burin, which is, we had to go 100 meters up the road, a little bit up, but they had, of course, a menu, but what basically triggered us was they had a lunch menu with really decent prices, and we, of course, picked the fish with mangold, potatoes, and spinach as a side dish. So let's see how it's gonna look when it arrives. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm very hungry. Well, if I look happy, there's a reason for this. It took less than 3 minutes since we ordered, and we have this fantastic dish in front of us. I can't wait to eat this. Fantastic. And the price, I'm still baffled about it. 14 euro for all this, which you see here. Just amazing. I know prices went up everywhere, but this is, if you're talking about reasonable prices, I think this is perfect. We just finished eating. I have to disappoint you. It was amazing. It was one of the best meals I had for a long time. I'm still baffled by the price, but I can only say 10 out of 10. Perfect. So what better place to end our video as next to the symbol of Brela, the stone here. We had a fantastic hard day and also wonderful day. We walked 13 kilometers. We saw a lot of beaches. I hope you found a beach which is exactly the right one for you. And we had some nice lunch. I hope you liked the video. Please give it a thumbs up. Follow our channel because we have many more videos coming out in the next period from the same area of Croatia. So thank you very much. Till the next one.